Hello. Has anyone ever found themselves in a situation where they came across a dead body while on the road? Moreover, the victim's identity was unclear, and there were very few clues. This story takes place in Florida, a state located in the southeastern United States. It is one of the three most populous states with a dense population. In the north-central area of Florida, there is a county called Marion. This county has over 1,200 horse farms, with the town of Ocala being renowned as the horse capital. Marion County features rolling hills, surrounded by pine forests and palm trees, with a railroad running through the outskirts of the town. On one day, in 1997, a horrifying event occurred on this railroad. On March 23, 1997, at 5 p.m. on a Sunday, a train carrying oranges was speeding through the dense forest near the town of Bellevue in Marion County. While driving the train, the conductor suddenly saw a man lying next to the tracks, seemingly dead, and reported it to the police. The Marion County Police quickly arrived at the scene. Based on initial information, the victim was about 20 years old, wearing a red shirt and blue jeans, lying face down with a blood stain on his head. They confirmed that the victim had passed away. At first, the police believed it was just an accident. Possibly the victim had accidentally fallen or collided with the train, as similar incidents had occurred frequently in this locality. Following protocol, the forensic team conducted an autopsy and discovered that the victim's injuries were caused by a heavy object with signs of being dragged and facial wounds, suggesting that the victim was attacked from behind. It was clear that the suspect initially intended to drag the victim's body into the forest, but for some reason could not, and abandoned the body by the tracks. It was evident that this was not an accidental death, but a premeditated murder. The police also found a white and blue cap and a pair of metal-framed glasses with one missing arm near the tracks. The drag marks in the surrounding bushes were also very clear, and they found a rail car connector hook used to connect train cars, made of alloy at both ends. After inspection, it was identified as the weapon causing the head injuries. In the victim's pocket, the police found a $200 receipt, a watch, a necklace, and some cash. Besides an unidentified drop of blood on the sleeve, no other fingerprints or DNA of others were found on the body. Investigators found a receipt on the victim with the name Cardi. After investigation, the amount on the receipt was transferred from Illinois, with the sender being Cardi's father. The first clues. Cardi was born in 1982 in Illinois. At 14, she moved here with her parents. Being introverted, she had difficulty integrating into the new environment, leading to a lack of friends. During her rebellious teenage years, she started skipping school and dating older boys. At 15, Cardi met a boy named Smith, 4 years her senior, who was also a rebellious teenager with a strong personality. He believed he could live well without his parents' help, so he left home early. But the harsh reality quickly drained his meager savings, and, as the saying goes, desperate times call for desperate measures. He resorted to stealing and was soon caught by the police. Smith's parents were furious and scolded him severely. Feeling unfairly treated, Smith left home again, penniless, and had to live on the streets. Though many saw him as homeless, Smith saw himself as a romantic and ignored others' opinions. Cardi and Smith's families lived in the same neighborhood, and after getting to know each other, they became lovers. Smith even hid from his parents to propose to her, and naturally, Cardi agreed. Smith, now grown, wanted to leave his parents and move to another state to live independently. After discussing with Cardi, they decided to move to Florida. During this time, Smith saved money and planned their future life after leaving home. He bought an old car for a few $100s, but without a driver's license, enlisted a like-minded friend who also wanted to go with his girlfriend. They decided that the friend would drive them. On February 23, 1997, just days after Cardi's 16th birthday, they set off. That morning, Cardi told her parents she would spend the night at a friend's house and return the next day. Before leaving, she left a phone number, supposedly of her friend. The next morning, when Cardi didn't return home, her parents became very worried and called the number she had left, but the person who answered claimed not to know anyone named Cardi. Shocked, her parents went to her school and learned the startling news that Cardi had been absent for a week. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, they quickly reported her missing to the police. Cardi, only 16, was still a minor. The police swiftly launched an investigation and discovered that she had traveled to Florida with Smith and another couple. During their journey, the two groups had a falling out, leading to animosity. Smith called his parents, saying they had reached Florida and there was no need to worry anymore. The investigation confirmed that Cardi's parents now knew their daughter had run away with someone. 2 weeks later, the car, after roaming around, reached Bradenton, Florida, where they stopped at a gas station, deciding to take a break. During this time, Smith and Cardi were unaware that the other couple had secretly driven off with the car. The young couple, now over 2,000 kilometers from home, had lost their car and had only a few dollars left. 3 weeks later, one morning, Cardi's father received a call at work from a homeless shelter in Bradenton. The caller informed him that Cardi had been found under a bridge. Shortly after, Cardi was connected to her father, crying and saying she wanted to come home instead of continuing their wandering life. Penniless, she begged her father to send money for a ticket home. Hearing his daughter cry so desperately, he immediately transferred $200 for her to return to her family. 3 days later, Smith, in Dayton, north of Bradenton, called his mother and said he would visit his grandmother in Northern California with Cardi, so he would be home late. His mother was furious because her son had been with Cardi for nearly a month. During that time, his parents were constantly worried. She forced him to reveal his current location and demanded that Smith return home immediately. However, rebellious as Smith was, he refused to listen to his mother, stating that going home would interfere with his plans. Once again, Smith hung up the phone. 2 days later, a train driver in Bellevue, Florida, as our story began, discovered a strange man's body, and it was none other than Smith. So why did Smith die here? Who killed him? Where is Cardi now? Stay tuned. Clearly, after running away from home, Cardi and Smith were inseparable. The police discovered that the blood sample on Smith's body belonged to Cardi. Fearing the situation would worsen, the police mobilized a large force, including helicopters flying overhead and sniffer dogs searching the entire forest, but still found no trace. Ultimately, where did Cardi go remains a big mystery, and whether she is involved in the case is uncertain. These questions worried the investigators, who, based on the available clues, put forward an incredibly unlikely hypothesis. After running away from home, Cardi and Smith had a conflict, and in a moment of uncontrolled emotion, Cardi attacked Smith from behind with a heavy object and fled the scene. Currently, Cardi might be hiding somewhere and afraid to go home, possibly with an accomplice, but all this is just a theory. The immediate task is to find Cardi. During this time, her parents cooperated closely with the police. They distributed many flyers with her picture, hoping to get any relevant information. The case was quickly publicized, and the police received hundreds of reports from witnesses, but most were unverifiable or inaccurate. The case clues? Amidst a slew of unreliable clues, 2 homeless individuals claimed to have seen Cardi with a disabled man in Jacksonville, Florida at the end of March. Following this information, the police found a man named Bobby with a physical disability, specifically missing a leg. Bobby cooperated with the police and confirmed he had met a girl named Cardi, but knew nothing about her whereabouts or activities. Moreover, the police had no clear evidence to conclude whether Bobby was involved in the case, so they had to continue investigating. 4 months after Cardi went missing, one night, while her parents were resting at home, the phone suddenly rang continuously. Cardi's mother hurriedly answered the phone, but there was no response from the other end. Thinking it was a bad joke, the phone rang again, and surprisingly, a female voice said, "Mom, it's me." The desperate call of Mom was cut off before the mother could respond. After months of waiting, Cardi's mother finally received news of her daughter. She was overjoyed and rushed to the police station to report it, while Cardi's father stayed home waiting for the next call. At 8 p.m., the phone rang again, and her father quickly answered. The person on the other end said, "Hello." and during the conversation, mentioned being in Kankakee, where Cardi's family used to live before moving. The caller stated not knowing exactly where in Kankakee they were, only that they were very close to a train station. Cardi's father asked several urgent questions, only receiving yes or no answers. Finally, the caller said time was up and had to hang up or risk danger. This call did not last long, and the caller did not say much. Cardi's father couldn't confirm if the caller was indeed Cardi. After receiving this clue, the police sent an investigator to Kankakee. He went near the train station as described and searched all nearby phone booths. Among them, one phone booth near a gas station matched the description. The investigator obtained the gas station's surveillance footage. They found that on the night of the call, a girl in a gray shirt resembling Cardi appeared on camera. Her mother reviewed the footage and confirmed it was her daughter. Despite a slight weight gain, her gestures, actions, and hairstyle matched Cardi, especially her habit of putting her hands in her pockets. Cardi's father, however, felt that although the girl in the footage resembled his daughter, his instincts told him she was not Cardi. 5 days after receiving the call, the police tracked the call's location. The results showed that the phone booth was not where the call took place, but was 4 kilometers away, with a missing person poster of Cardi. The police suspected someone saw the information on the poster and pretended to be Cardi. The woman in the gas station surveillance footage was just someone who looked similar to Cardi but was not her. A challenging case. In the following period, the police did not receive any more useful clues, and the case gradually fell into obscurity. 2 years after the case, an investigator was sent to the FBI for a 3-month training course, where law enforcement officers from different states could learn from each other. There, he learned that a serial killer, known as the Railroad Killer, had recently appeared in Texas. He often operated near railroads and preferred to use a hammer as his weapon. He would kill his victims and leave them on the tracks, earning him his notorious nickname. Texas police had a sketch of the suspect based on clues and had listed him on the FBI's wanted list that year, believing he would soon be caught. Smith's body was found by the tracks, with a head injury matching the killer's MO, indicating the case might be related to him. In July 1999, Texas police captured the Railroad Killer, whose real name was Angel Resendez, a 38-year-old Mexican. He was raised by his mother and was severely mentally ill after being sexually assaulted by a group of boys while swimming in a river. At 18, Resendez began illegally immigrating to the U.S., and in 1979, he was arrested in Miami, Florida, for severely injuring an 88-year-old man and sentenced to 20 years in prison. During his imprisonment, due to good behavior, he was released early in 1985 and then deported from the U.S. in 1986. At 26, he illegally re-entered the country. Angel Resendez committed 2 murders in Texas after a girl insulted him. The same year, he was arrested and sentenced to 18 months in prison. After being pardoned, he was deported from the U.S. again. In the following years, Angel Resendez frequently wandered near the U.S.-Mexico border, taking advantage of freight trains crossing between the two countries to illegally re-enter. He would go to Florida during the orange harvest season or to Kentucky during the tobacco harvest, earning money to send home or spend. During this time, Angel Resendez committed numerous crimes, each resulting in sentences ranging from a few months to several years in prison. In October 1998, on a railway from northeast Georgia to Houston, Texas, 3 consecutive crimes occurred in less than 2 months. The police found the suspect's fingerprints at the scene, confirming he typically attacked victims from behind with a heavy object. The first victims were a couple walking near the tracks. The suspect attacked them with a rock, killing the girl instantly. The boy was seriously injured, but survived after timely medical attention. The surviving victim described the suspect's appearance to the police: about 170 centimeters tall, 65 kilograms, with black hair, brown eyes, dark skin, and scars on his right finger, left arm, and forehead. Has the case been solved? All 3 of these crimes were committed by Angel Resendez. After the crimes, he fled to Mexico. Just 5 months later, he returned to Texas and committed another crime near the railway. While on the run, he was captured by a Border Patrol officer, but was mistaken for a regular border trespasser and deported to Mexico. Only 2 days later, he returned to the U.S. and committed 2 more crimes in Texas. By then, Angel Resendez had committed over 10 crimes, prompting the FBI to get involved. Upon investigation, they discovered that the suspect's crimes all occurred near railways, with common weapons being rocks and shovels. In June 1999, the FBI placed Angel Resendez on the list of the 10 most wanted criminals, offering a $50,000 reward. After another crime in Illinois, the pressure from the FBI increased the reward to $125,000. After each crime, he fled to Mexico. His sister accidentally saw the information about the 10 most wanted criminals on TV and immediately recognized her brother. Fearing her brother would commit more crimes, she secretly contacted the FBI. This finally confirmed the identity of the railway killer. However, a new challenge arose. Since the culprit was in Mexico, diplomatic processes would take a lot of time. If Angel Resendez sensed he was exposed, he would definitely flee, making the situation even more difficult. Investigators contacted his family, offering certain benefits to persuade them to turn him in. On a morning in July 1999, under his family's persuasion, Angel Resendez went to a border bridge between the U.S. and Mexico. This time, he confessed and willingly put his hands into handcuffs. His sister received $86,000 for this. Angel Resendez confessed to all his actions, including 23 crimes in both the U.S. and Mexico, with 16 in the U.S. After capturing the perpetrator. A trial was immediately held. The prosecutor presented Angel Resendez's crimes and demanded the death penalty. Mexico hired a lawyer to defend him, arguing that he suffered from severe schizophrenia. Under U.S. law, he shouldn't receive the death penalty. If the death penalty was imposed, it meant he was treated unjustly in the Texas criminal justice system. This was a very serious issue. In court, the defendant claimed that investigators did not keep their promise to his family, who persuaded him to surrender with the assurance there would be no death penalty. In May 2000, the 12 jury members reached a unanimous decision. The court declared Angel Resendez guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced him to death. After the sentencing, the defense appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court on the grounds of his mental illness, but the appeal was rejected. The end of the villain and the case overview. He was eventually detained at the Buchnurski prison in Texas, considered one of the highest security prisons, with a capacity of up to 3,000 inmates. In early 2000, investigators specializing in extreme cases found Angel Resendez. After treatment, his mental condition improved. He realized his mistakes and felt deeply remorseful. He admitted to the Smith and Carty case after meeting with investigators, allowing us to revisit the entire case through this criminal. On the day of the crime, Angel Resendez was in Jacksonville, Florida. As usual, he intended to hitch a ride to an orange farm for work. By then, he had committed over 10 crimes. At the station, he met Smith and Carty, initiating a conversation with them. The three boarded the train together. During the conversation, the madman began to believe the two were devil worshippers, planting a seed for a new crime. When the train stopped at a station, Carty fell asleep, and Smith went out to smoke. Seeing an opportunity, Angel Resendez followed his prey. When the moment came, he attacked Smith from behind with a train cable and dragged the victim into the forest to dispose of the body. However, running out of time, he hastily threw Smith's body near the tracks. At the next stop, Carty woke up and, not seeing Smith, asked Angel Resendez where he had gone. He told her he knew Smith's whereabouts and led her off the train. Soon after, Carty was lured into a desolate forest, where the small girl met a tragic end, being strangled to death. Angel Resendez drew a map for investigators detailing the location where Carty was killed, noting a large tree and a white house nearby. Upon receiving the information, the police rushed to the forest to investigate. In July 2000, officers found a body wrapped in a blanket amidst the bushes, with scattered belongings around. DNA comparison confirmed this was Cardi, the girl who had been missing for over 3 years. The location of the body was discovered to be more than 24 kilometers south of where Smith was killed. Her belongings were returned to her family, officially closing this case. On the evening of June 6, 2006, 45-year-old Angel Resendiz was executed at the Bolensky prison in Texas, marking the end of his life of crime. The victim's family members were present to witness the event. In his final moments, Angel Resendiz asked if the victims' families would forgive him. Silence enveloped the room. Without waiting for an answer, he said, "I have been controlled by the devil my whole life, so I beg for everyone's forgiveness and for God's forgiveness. I am grateful that God has always been patient with me. You all should not have to endure such pain. This is the punishment I deserve." In his final moments, Angel Resendiz prayed in both Spanish and Hebrew. And so, the case concluded, and the villain paid the price for his crimes. This case also highlighted the current state of today's youth, who, because of overconfidence and rebellion, often act impulsively. We cannot entirely blame them, as they are young and prone to reckless thinking. Angel Resendiz may have had psychological issues, but as the saying goes, you reap what you sow, and karma spares no one. What are your thoughts on this criminal? What was the true cause of the victims' deaths? Please leave your comments below, and we will continue the discussion. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to support our channel. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.